between me and them. They trying to get their ones and trying to get them M's. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4. In just 5 years, 40 million more. You are now looking at the 40 million bar. I rate for Tef Channel, I'm the 100 million man. R-O-C. That's where you wrong. I can't
Finally back at it, man.
Yeah, we got to get these things in a little bit more consistent.
Straight talk, no chaser. I'm Denny Thompson. That's James Coleman, brought to you by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Get on out to an ABC if you're in Jacksonville or if you're in Florida.
In the state of Florida, yeah.
The whole state of Florida. Get on out. They deliver to you now.
Yeah, they deliver. Got to go check out the different apps. I think Shipt is one of them. It's easier than ordering a pizza if they're in your area.
Why didn't somebody think of this before?
I think it was probably they had to get some legal laws. I mean, you got to be able to prove that somebody's 21.
That's it's genius.
Yes, I mean all the comforts.
I mean, because how many times have you sat there and go, you know what? I'd like to have some more to drink.
Like think about the
but
fight.
I can't drive.
Think about the fight party that we had at my house a little while ago.
Yeah.
Like imagine it was a lot of libations consumed that day.
We didn't really run out though.
No, we didn't. But I mean, we could have used some more whiskey probably.
Well, sometimes you just feel like something different that you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Good work, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits.
And if they let you get cigars, that's even more clutch.
Do they?
I don't know yet. I got to go download the app and I'm gonna try it out, especially if they take gift cards.
Yeah. By the way, that's a great holiday idea. Is go out, get somebody an ABC Fine Wine and Spirits gift card.
Yeah. Give the gift of ABC. Always be celebrating. That's it. Give the gift of booze.
There you go. All right, as we do with every single Straight Talk No Chaser, we're going to start out with Manco violation. Before you get to the one that you want to talk about, I do have one that you committed today.
What did I do?
So you and I were in a group text today where you start talking about someone messed up at Starbucks today.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that tell me what you get at Starbucks.
I didn't say they didn't mess up my order. I get 6 shots over ice.
Why go to Starbucks?
Because they make it better than the other places I go. I don't like Dunkin' Donuts Espresso. I don't like anybody else. I like Starbucks. They make it for me nice, and I have an app that I can go get.
So you're not a coffee guy?
I like coffee. I don't get what people normally get at Starbucks. I don't get the whip, frappe, mocha, mint, cherry julep type mess.
Then I'm on the fence with you right now then.
No, I drink my coffee like I drink my liquor.
Okay. Straight? Black. Okay. All right. We need more black coffee drink. No, that sounded wrong. We don't need more black guys who drink coffee.
We do need more black coffee drinkers.
We need more people who drink black coffee. There you go.
Listen, I mean, all that watering down stuff, I mean, I tell people like that's for punks, man.
Well, I just want you to think of it like this. If you're walking in somewhere, I always think, what would my grandfather say?
Fair enough.
If he saw me ordering something.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? I just, look, I'm a fan of just running through Mickey D's or running through the gas station, pour you some coffee and just get on way.
No, I'll drink some gas station coffee. I'll drink some McDonald's coffee every now and then.
McDonald's isn't bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. They've done a pretty good job. They actually put some money in it. But I actually have better coffee at the house. What I like about Starbucks is when I actually walk in there.
It makes too much.
They greet me. They're excited to take my money. And even before even with the invention of the app, but before the app, they see me walk in the door and you know what they're already doing? They're already making my drink. That to me is customer service and I like it. But even on the app, I put it in there and they know because my order is kind of unique.
Yeah.
They know that I also want a big ass cup of water. And they make sure that I get my cup of water and I get my drink and it's there and it's the way they say, hey, look forward to seeing
water
you. There? Well, their water's pretty good. They filter it.
Okay, because Jacksonville water is...
Which is kind of bougie, but Jacksonville water is pretty bad.
Like you grow a third nipple.
Yeah. It's voted I think it's top 5 worst water.
Just below Flint.
Yeah, just below Flint. So, I mean, we got the filtration for the actual shower and for the water going on in our house.
Yeah, it ain't good.
But you know, Cigar Czar's son-in-law is working there. Rough day for him. People wanted their pumpkin spice lattes and stuff, and they wanted it now. And it just so happened like one of the machines was down. Oh. The mobile ordering thing was down. So people had to come in there. It was like 20 deep and they weren't moving fast enough. And I'm like, man, rough day. But he was just as happy and just a smile. Just as guys, if you haven't seen him before, go look at our video from Hurricane Preparedness. He was just as nice and greeting us, greeting that he was there. He's a good kid.
He's a good guy.
But this is my problem right here. This is what I got.
All right.
So there's always some things that have always baffled me, even in the sport that I play. You know, the capri pants that we wear in football that are skin tight.
Okay. I didn't ever look at them at capri pants.
Yeah,
but I see what you're saying.
But you know, they're skin tight, and other men tackle you, and there's some interesting positions that you can find yourself.
Sure.
in. Not women like that, and it's kind of cool. But
you think?
Oh, I know.
Really?
Oh, when we wore white pants.
Yeah.
You would be surprised. This is why I always tell women, don't talk to me about sexism.
So the
things
volleyball
like
thing, they can't say anything
They
about.
can't say anything. I have seen some of the women, like I know what a woman goes through when she goes to the club and she's a hot piece of thing.
Uh-huh.
Because I've been treated that way before at one point in my life. Not now.
Dear.
Not now. But back when I was somebody, when I was handsome, that's why I posted that picture on Facebook today when I looked good.
I didn't see
and
it.
I wore those and I had those pants. Oh, I've had girls from my high school tell me like, ain't leave nothing to the imagination.
Huh?
And bless you.
Oh.
And I'm like, what?
All right.
I didn't know women thought like that until I became a prep prospect and went to college. But anyways, there are some traditions like the slapping of the butt. That's some people get they get a little cuff in there to get out of hand. But this whole dick bumping thing,
you showed me this last night
that the Chicago Cubs did. My son.
Is that real?
I'm afraid.
Was that photoshopped?
No, they were really.
There's
doing
really people that are just slapping
dick
units.
Yep, bumping dicks.
If you haven't seen it,
yeah, you gotta go check it out.
You gotta go check it out. Go look at
Chicago
the Chicago Cubs
Cubs
celebration after a home run or whatever like that. And he's not kidding. Literally, the guy crosses home plate, and instead of chest bumping, they bump the pelvis area.
They raise the right leg, and they come right into each other and dead center mass.
I don't. That's unbelievable to me.
Like, you know what's scary? Wife has signed my son up for T-ball. And kids mimic things that pro athletes do. No. And I don't want my son running around like he hits a home run. And he's a cool kid, but if somebody hits a home run, and the next thing you know, somebody comes up and bumps him.
No, that ain't happening. Here's my question for you. Yes, major, maybe one of the biggest Manco violations that we've spoken of.
Right.
Who was the first person that thought of this, and how did they address it? Like, we need to find the origin of this. Yes, because somebody went, I got a really good idea. Let me throw it to my boys. Right? And at that point, it should have been shot down.
Right.
But it was received? I got questions for that guy.
This is what I think happened. They called up OBJ. And
OBJ
why you gotta
put him in this?
Because this is something.
OBJ ain't got nothing to do with this.
There's got to be something that he came up with.
Oh, come on! You think there's an OBJ DVD celebrations?
Yes, or OBJ. We need some interesting celebration. To get
alternative celebrations.
Alternative celebration. LGBTCBY celebration.
Q. Yeah. Don't forget the Q.
And he said, you know what? Something I haven't had the audacity to do is Dick 5. And he said, and then you know what? That's what we're going to go run with. And you know who else is interested and excited about this? I think his name was it Lance Stevenson? The ugly dark skinned dude on Golden State.
No, that's not Lance Stevenson.
My bad. Who's that?
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green. My bad.
Man,
Lance
Stevenson's the dude that
Lance
blew
Stevenson is actually good. He hurt himself.
He's the one that blew in LeBron's ear.
Okay, even worse. Okay, so I wasn't that far off. My bad. He's excited about that too. But you're right. Draymond Green is the ugly dude from Golden State, and he, as much as he likes nuts, this is right up his alley.
Yeah, that's. I was hoping you were going to tell me that you found out that was photoshopped or
no, because I remember seeing it. I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I hope what I saw isn't real. And then when I saw the YouTube videos, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's it. That's it."
That's pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic.
And then one other thing I saw, and it was at a sporting event. And all right, so you got your urinals, but sometimes at sporting events, urinals are packed.
Yeah.
So you have no choice but be right next to
somebody. I had
somebody.
another situation with this.
But one thing that no grown man should do, and I'm working on my 3-year-old to make sure that he stops doing this, is you do not pull your pants and your underwear all the way down
you saw
at
that?
a urinal and you're butt booty ass naked.
I mean, my 5-year-old does.
Yes, he's a kid. Yeah. I understand kids doing that.
You saw a grown man?
But it was a video. The dude said, like, he actually videotaped it because he could not believe it, and he knew that if he said this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it on the. I saved it on my Facebook profile. Like, you can't see it, but I'm gonna put it on the Sports Den profile so great. You guys can see these man code violations in their full.
Are gonna love that.
Yeah, they're gonna probably hope. They're probably gonna hope it's not one of their employees.
We should probably talk about this before you throw it up there.
It's not like you see white cheeks, but it's not the way you would want.
I've had, since we addressed this, I've had at least 3 more instances where I'm the only person in the bathroom and a guy comes right next to me.
It's lonely.
I just don't get it.
Maybe you invite conversation.
Dude, you know me. I don't like conversation.
They walk in and said, you know what? I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't used my 10,000 words today. So I'm going to go up and this looks like the best guy to talk to right now in this situation.
Bro, you know me. If I didn't have this job, I wouldn't hit 1,000 words a day.
Nobody really comes up and just does it. They'll come sit next to me in the movie theater because they think I'm comfy. But other than that, when I walk through everyday life and I see people like post things like bad, like people talk to them bad or say something, and I don't really ever get like the road rage incidents.
I don't get any like that kind of stuff.
I kind of look forward to some of those. I'm not a bad guy, but some of them I'm like, man, that'd be kind of cool.
You think?
Cool story.
Nah,
be like,
I'm too old.
But yeah, that's good.
I'm too old, man. I don't have time to mess with all that stuff. Hey, all right, this came out a couple weeks ago, but we never talked about it actually on our radio program or here, even though it's right up our alley. So BusinessInsider.com has a sports division, and they did this write-up, and it kind of plays into your argument about should college players be paid, which right. I told you the other day I'm starting to come. Mm-hmm. LSU made me come to that side with you. Okay. With the way that they acted like a bunch of first-class asses on the hurricane situation.
Yeah.
So that made me come to your side. And then I saw this. And basically what it is they calculated the fair market value of college football players at the 20 most profitable programs using data provided by the Department of Education. So this is not just data they pulled out of the air.
Right. This is statistics that have some validity.
Right. Then they used the NFL's most recent collective bargaining agreement, which the players getting screwed on even.
Yeah.
In which the players receive a minimum of 47% of all revenue. So each school's football revenue was split between the school, the athletes, and the player share divided evenly among the 85 scholarship players. So they're not even taking into account
that one player is worth more than the other one.
Right.
This is just an even distribution.
So this is the method they used. And so they came up with what each player in the 20 most profitable football programs in college football, what their fair market value is. Do you want to guess who is number one?
Texas.
Yes. Do you have any idea, 85 scholarship players, what the fair market value of each player is?
$85,000.
I would have guessed something like that. Try again. It's higher.
$250,000.
Higher.
Wow. $500,000?
Higher.
$750.
$671,173.
Jeez.
Yeah. The average, the FBS average,
right,
is $163,869. The average. You got it goes Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Florida, Penn State, Florida State. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State, $388,000. Washington, Arkansas, Texas A&M, which I bet Texas A&M has gone way up because of all their new stadium and everything they've done. Then Oregon, Nebraska, South Carolina, and Michigan State. So you're not. I'm surprised Notre Dame wasn't higher, by the way.
Yeah, because they get all their bowl money.
So you're talking about 1, 2, 3 of the top 5 are SEC schools. Number 6, number 7, and number 10. So 6 of the top 10 are SEC schools.
I mean, it goes to my argument. There's so much money in it, and a lot of the books are cooked. And the reason why I say everybody talks about the education aspect of it, but let's be honest with you, they aren't creating new classes for athletes. that class, that ENC 1101 class was going to be that ENC 1101 class, whether there was an athlete in it or not. So that teacher was already paid. That tuition is paid by the students. Now you do have the athletics and some of the other things, the paying of the coaches. Those are things that are more than covered by just even the bowl money. The travel can be comped. You don't know with the marketing and some of the other aspects that these people make, but there should be the NCAA. You can't tell me that it's 120 something schools. Even though I believe there should only be 50.
Well, they've kind of done that with the Power 5.
Yeah, pretty much. So about 50 is the Power 5, and even in those, there are some schools that are on the outskirts of the quote unquote Power 5 that probably could be in it. So, but anyways, there's only 50 schools that deserve to be in this conversation year in and year out, and you can't tell me that 50 of the best and brightest presidents in the nation cannot come together to some kind of agreement with their AD's help to be able to come up with a fair agreement to be able to pay these young men and women in some of the sports that make money. Even if it's not like your quote-unquote NFL, like your 47%, even if it's a 20%, or even if they let conferences dictate what their CBA terms will be based upon with some oversight by the NCAA. Because then now you let capitalism come into play a little bit. So, I mean, there are things that can be done that can make this so much better and actually continue to make the profit.
Well, and there are a couple people that even transcend this. I mean, Tebow wrote about in his book about how he thinks it's really unfair. And you look at Tebow, and they're still
making money off of Tebow.
Yeah. I mean, they made, would you say, hundreds of millions of dollars off of Tebow?
Easy. And not just that. Like Tebow, I will say this, to give him credit, his family credit, is they position themselves better than most families did in the NCAA to profit off of their son in some capacity. Robbie was the president or the director of the area FCA,
Fellowship of Christian Athletes,
and what he did was he had his brother come to speak,
right, to raise money,
so that which in turn paid his salary and also did some other great things. His family being missionaries, you don't think that a lot of Bull Gators decided to write a check to help, for a good cause.
Sure.
But I'm just saying for the different things like
but they had different outlets to where.
Yeah, that's why when the Cam Newton thing came and everybody was bashing him, and I found out that his dad was a minister, I'm like, okay, be honest with you. So what? He asked for money. If it went to his church, it's just a different way. But okay, even Cam Newton's dad probably capitalized in some capacity, but very few people have those kind of familial backgrounds to be able to capitalize and take those things to the next level.
Well, and very few people foresee that. We're local, and we talk about Tebow because we're local. Everybody foresaw that when he was in high school here.
Right.
Everybody knew where he was going.
MTV had came out there when they were doing the thing on Hoover, Alabama at the time. ESPN did stuff. When you're looking at this guy, he was a rock star. I remember he came on a visit to Florida State. I don't forget who we played that weekend, but you see the people, the crew, and the entourage that he had during a time with it's every day with recruiting now, but at that time nobody had that kind of a pull like he did.
No, but this is just your average college football player, and that's kind of my point. But the interesting thing about this is there's a professor, Ellen Starosky. I'm probably butchering that. She's at Drexel. Okay. She took this information and came up with a plan, and it makes some sense now. And in her findings, she went through all what the coaches are making and all. Mm-hmm. And which, by the way, I got no problem with it.
Make your money, but I think you should just make sure. Anyways, let's go ahead. Spell.
Yeah. So her recommendation essentially came down to this: basically, adopt some legislation that allow revenue-producing athletes to receive a portion of those revenues, but they'll be placed in what's called an educational lockbox.
A trust.
They don't get it till they graduate. So they cover basic living needs.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to, because now at that point they have fulfilled their commitment to the college. And she didn't say this, I'm thinking out loud.
Right.
I signed a scholarship, you gave me free education, I stayed. Okay. Now I graduated, you made all this money off of me. I could live with this.
Right.
I really could live with this. It would do several things. It would make that guy who is a 5th, 6th round pick, but mama needs some money.
And make him stay around.
Make him stay around because there's something at the end. And the other thing it would do, depending on how big it is, it would allow that family to probably go out and get a loan with that as collateral.
That, and bigger than that, what I personally believe is with the amount of money that's in college athletics, as well as the NFL, the one thing about most NFL guys, not actually, I'll say a good majority of NFL guys, that's life-changing money. Especially if you're able to stick there for 5 years, there are a lot of benefits to being in the NFL. I believe if you play in a top 50 school, that should be a life-changing experience outside of the education part. Now, I would agree more so with people who are saying your degree is your compensation if at the end of 4 to 5 years, I was guaranteed some type of a job. Even if that's not the job, which nobody is anymore. Even if that's not the job that I want, but I was guaranteed, like, say 2 to 3 years, a job for 2 to 3 years in athletics where I can at least I have a path to start a career in some capacity. But even if it's this, I believe that's really good. Even if it's something where you get a percentage of that 300, let's say Florida State was 385,000 or whatever, I get 38,000. I get 10% every year. And then if I graduate, I get the entirety of what's left over.
Yeah.
And then now I have the opportunity. Now what you have done, what I have sacrificed my body for the university, and what you have done in turn is if I fail, that's my fault.
Right.
You have literally given me every opportunity to succeed. Actually, you've gone above and beyond what most people would do to be able to succeed. So there's nothing to complain, and I'm debt free. So those are things that I think that it doesn't even have to be those numbers.
Yeah,
but if the universities would do that to some capacity, you would see them win the PR campaign.
Well, I was going to say there's a couple of things in there that you'd have to. You don't want to give a college student $38,000 a year. All right, that's the first thing. That's not going to end well. He's not going to graduate. He's going to end up in Betty Ford Clinic.
Probably.
Okay, with syphilis. That's what's going to happen.
Some way, shape, or form.
All right, but the other thing, and probably the bigger thing in my eyes, is there's got to be some level of college should not be a capitalistic society when it comes to recruiting kids. Everybody should be on the same playing field. If you're good enough to play one of these Power 5 conferences,
I think they should all receive the same compensation, which
player wise. Now, whatever the college makes, they make. Okay, there's more Alabama fans than there are, Vanderbilt fans.
Yeah, definitely player wise. And what I mean is either make it an NCAA mandate, which would be difficult because there are schools that simply cannot afford it, or you make it a conference by conference thing, and then what ends up happening is through free market competition, they'll make it balanced. So like the SEC isn't going to offer 7% of money's coming in if the ACC is going to offer 25, and the ACC is not going to offer 25 because they're going to want the best players. So what will end up happening is there'll be some happy medium.
You got to take that out. You got to take that out. And what I'm going to assume was not in the Department of Education's numbers is SEC network money. And we know how big that is.
Yeah, and then now what
was that, almost $30 million?
Yeah, now the fledgling ACC, the ACC network starting out. The Big Ten has a network.
Texas has their own
everybody
network.
Everybody has a network except for
yeah, but none of them are running like the SEC.
Well, yeah, you're right.
But the SEC and
but Texas has their own network.
Well, that's what I was going to say, and I did say that Texas has their own. But if you're looking at a conference, and that's what you'd have to do, you'd have to go. Okay, everybody's paying the exact same amount of money. Every kid's going to get $1,800 a month extra, and then at the end of it, if they graduate in a certain amount of time, you can't let them stay there forever. But in a certain amount of time, then every kid gets $125,000 at the end of it. They can't all pay the $671,000. Is my point.
No, they can't. That's why I use my university, which seemed to be one of the higher numbers.
Right. I mean, they're in the top 20, but they're not. Yeah. The difference in them, which was somewhere around like 14 and 20, was only $40,000. So that bottom 10 was really kind of grouped together.
Yeah.
Once you got past, really, I mean, Tennessee, which I'm surprised, was third at $521,000. Nobody else was above 500, and nobody else was below 325.
Well, I mean, just think about it like this: Tennessee seats 110,000. If the average ticket was $40,
well,
they're making. I'm just saying, like they're making a ton of money just off of.
Tennessee fan don't own anything that's not Tennessee.
Yeah, So I mean, they're making a good amount of money, or just in general, like guys like me, like I want to go see my alma mater this weekend.
Yeah,
and with the kid, I don't have enough apparel. They'll probably give me some when I go in there, but guess what? They don't have 3T apparel.
Right.
So my wife's gonna go to the bookstore. She's gonna buy my son some shorts and a shirt and probably a jersey or whatever else he says he wants. Probably a football because that's what he wants. And I'm gonna walk out spending $100 that I really didn't want to spend. But if every fan spends on top of the tickets that they bought, spends $100 that they don't want to spend on top of parking, on top of food and all the other stuff, you walk away with okay. And that's the pennies money. That's the money that, like when I joke about NFL fan, that okay, that's good money, and when you start adding up the numbers, that's good and all, but that pales in comparison to how they really make their money, which is advertising.
Yeah. Staying on the college topic, Alabama this past week played LSU.
Right.
In what was I thought, an entertaining game. You didn't think so?
I mean, it was okay.
I thought it was an entertaining game. I'm starting to get a little aggravated at Alabama. You know, a couple weeks ago, they brought in Blake Sims to run scout team to
and
simulate
pretend like he was
the guy from Texas A&M, quarterback from Texas A&M. You know who they brought in this past week?
Derrick Henry,
Trent Richardson,
to practice
for Leonard Fournette.
Like Leonard Fournette.
So they bring him in, Trent Richardson and John Parker Wilson. Which I'm assuming if you bring in John Parker Wilson, you didn't think the other quarterback was very good. Yeah. Dude, that's got to stop. I'm sorry, but this has got to stop.
Actually, I think it goes back to what we were just talking about. They compensate these guys.
I know, but it's still, man. That's
ingenious.
Dude, you're talking about Trent Richardson's a 25-year-old
former first round top
pick,
5 pick, I think,
who's been in the NFL now for 3 or 4 years. Dude, you can't be bringing him back. That's now you've got amateurs playing against professionals,
right?
So you are now even blurring that line further than what you were before,
and they're utilizing the rule. I think, to be honest with you, if I were other universities, I would start blurring that line as well.
So let me tell you what's going to happen. Okay, James Coleman,
hire a practice squad.
Well, that, and when they're recruiting you, hey, this NFL thing don't work out. You know what we pay the guys to come help us scout?
I think it's ingenious. I think it's also helping. It also helps the young athlete that doesn't make it have an opportunity to make money.
James, it's time to move on and get a career.
Yeah, if you only do it for 3, it's no different than being a GA.
Dude, when was John Parker Wilson there?
Wasn't he there like 06 to 09?
Bro, that's been a minute.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to think he's still 28. He's probably like 28 years old. He's my sister's age.
Is he?
He's got to be that. Maybe even younger than that. It just seems like we start to think that these guys are older than what they are. If you're 24 years old, is very young.
I thought he was I thought he was older than that.
No, I'm just saying in general. Like Trent Richardson can only be like 24, 25 years old.
He's 31.
Trent Richardson?
No, John Parker Wilson.
Oh, he was there when I was there.
He's 31 years old. Yeah, he was the guy that was in Hoover. He was in that MTV series.
Oh, he was an old guy. He was an old.
Yeah, he went undrafted in 2009. Bro, it's 16.
Yeah, that's a while.
He had a stint here in Jacksonville. I forgot about that.
But what I'm saying is, hey, he's 31 years old. That's not old. And who knows? Alabama. This is the same.
How old are you?
You're 33? I'm 32. It's the same school.
All right, so you go back to Florida State right now and practice?
If I were in better shape, I would.
That's kind of.
But you know what though? When I first heard about it, I joked and said, "Hey, Jimbo, if you need a fullback to simulate goal line situations, I could come coach you guys.
I'd have to find another.
You heard me? I said I could come coach you guys. I'm not taking the hit. Somebody asked me the other day. They were like, man, you look like you still could go play. I said I got 5 plays in me, and I'm not saying 5 plays in a row.
And that's if you don't run out with the team before.
Yeah, that's if I don't run out with the team. 3 years ago, when I went to a game, they were like, "Hey, can we? Bro, Coleman, you need to go in," and which is a sign of how crazy fans are. I did not have dreads in college, and I'm probably about 60, 70 pounds, a little bit heavier than I was at that time. But I'm like, hey, I'll go in. I give them everything I got. But the problem is, from me running from up top, down to the field, that's 3 plays right there, brother. I'm done. You got to give me some water and then you better make sure we're on the half-yard line. I can get you the touchdown on the half-yard line. You get about a little bit more than that, man. Woo.
Yeah, all right. So we'll circle back around to sports in just a minute. We got a show to do tonight too, by the way.
Right.
So we're doing this, and then we've got our normal show.
And then tomorrow we got election coverage.
Election coverage, Sports Den style. You're going to want to go to our Facebook page, Sports Den Live, to get all the videos from that. I found an interesting article in Daily Mail.
Daily, like M-L-E? M-A-L-E?
M-A-I-L.
Oh, okay.
M-A-I-L.
I didn't, you know, Daily Mail could be really interesting. Really interesting.
So what I do, that was the Chicago Cubs thing earlier. What I do is basically I've got this app on my iPad, and I just put all these news things, whatever it is, I put on there, and I just read the headlines and look for something fun for us to talk about, right?
Right.
So here's the headline. This year's election is negatively impacting Americans' sex lives, especially for Democrats. So follow me here. They did a survey. Some fertility app did a survey, and it was a fairly big survey. Like, it wasn't just like 6 cats on the side of the road, right? Listen to some of these things. How about 45% of the women identifying as Republicans said they are more looking forward to having sex compared to voting? 45%.
Makes sense.
You know how many Democrats?
What?
25%. So 3 out of 4 would rather vote than bump uglies.
I mean, per that data, that actually makes this book I'm reading called "What Americans Really Want."
They want to vote?
No, but it talked about everything. It's a guy who just does. All he does is study sociology and pretty much predict things and for business, voting, and all these different things. And he actually did a breakdown of Democrats and Republicans' sex lives and things like that. It was kind of
Republicans a little freakier.
More freakier than what people would give them credit to, because it goes back to this. One, I guarantee you the amount of Democrats who actually own that app is less than the amount of Republicans. And here I'm going to tell you why. Is with Ashley Madison first came out and the hack happened,
right?
It was mostly Republicans on that site. What statistics say is that Republicans are freakier. They just don't let it be known. The conservative values they put as a front.
That's the very definition of being a conservative and liberalism. Being liberal is you're liberal in your relationships, so they know about it. So there's no reason.
It's just like the Pilgrims. People think that they were very wholesome, but when you actually go read the journals,
they're freaks.
There was some freaky MFers.
Yeah,
like I'm talking about like one. They only had like one bed, and people shared the bed.
Yeah,
and mommy and daddy are getting it on in the bed.
Yeah, that's not going to work out well.
Yeah, not in today's
society.
Okay,
so what about debates? So they also said, would you rather have sex or watch the debate? All right. 67% of female Republicans said having sex was a bigger priority than watching the debate.
Because they don't care.
50% of Democrats said they would rather watch the debate. So half and half.
Yeah, and then also look at who the Democrat nominee is.
It kind of takes you out of the mood.
That too. It's a woman. And if you're a female, you kind of want to, this is their moment. Most Republican females really don't care. We've seen statistically they really don't care who's running for on the Democratic side. They're going to vote Republican.
I just thought it was kind of interesting. Like I mean, I think it's a flawed thing because I don't know about you, but I mean, I can have sex and vote. Like it don't take me all day. The polls are open for a while.
Yeah, you can early vote.
The polls are open a lot longer than my poll is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I ain't the athlete no more. All I need is about 15 minutes, and if we need to get quicker, we can get quicker.
I mean, at that point, I'm gonna need a halftime anyway.
Yeah.
So it's that's not a problem to me. So I think that's why they asked women.
Right.
They're not men, because men would be like, huh? I can only do one. Why can't I do both?
They also asked in the book that I'm reading. They also asked women, would you have an affair with the president? And you want to know which side was more likely to have an affair with the president?
What, this president or
no,
just in general? Well, I'm assuming they're Republicans.
The Republican women were more intrigued. It said male or female. So this was done I think this was done in like 2008, which means they would have wanted to have sex with W or Barry, which it just all depends on when in 08 I mean, when it was done, or because it was published in 08, so it means it probably did in 07.
Well, I bet you do that same thing now, and it ain't gonna be nearly as high. With these two jokers.
Oh, you talking about with these two jokers? Nobody, yeah. I'm not saying people they still like that.
I'm good.
I'm trying to think. What else did they say? You know, would you, are you more likely to have a threesome was higher? It just all depends on where the data comes in. But it's just like when you look at when you everything that people tend to fight. If you Google search which porn they look at, it tends to be that is what they watch. Like in the Bible Belt, there's so much fighting about gay marriage, and gay porn happens to be the highest. Gay porn and ebony porn are the two of the highest things in the South. So racism and hating gay people is kind of what the South is starting to get known for again, and that's kind of what they like to get off on.
Yeah, I feel like, and I'm not trying to explain that away, but I feel like the South is a lot different now than it was maybe with what you're associating Bible Belt with. Like, I mean, there's been a lot of people move south, bro.
Yo, yeah. A lot of people move south. But it's still known as we still have a lot of things down here.
But what I'm saying is to generalize that, I don't think is probably the wisest thing to do.
We still play our sports, our rec sports on Tuesdays and Thursdays because there's an important day in most churches on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of things are. But it's become more open.
Yeah. I'm
in cities, though, because here's the thing that most people don't understand. When my family tells them, like, man, I can't believe, man, you live in the South. You're in this and that. I'm like, dude, I live in a city. Yeah. I have never lived in a real country. I may have a twang sometimes, even though somebody told me today, they don't know where I'm from. They're like, that guy can't be from the South. I'm like, God, my northern family tells me I'm country, and then the southern people tell me don't know what I am.
It depends. I'll tell you, it depends.
Tell me if I get to Tallahassee for a little while, I come back.
You come back, and it's a whole different cat.
But I tell them it's just like there's Georgia, and then there's Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then even Savannah. But like that stuff in the middle, for a guy like me, that's scary. I see cotton on any place, somebody keeps telling me on my Facebook, hey, James, we got to get you to come visit Alabama. No hell. I'm a history major that studied in that specialized in African American studies. There ain't no way in hell you getting me to go to Alabama and Mississippi. But generally, if there's cotton still there, I'm not going. Sorry, it's been ingrained. It's been passed down.
See where I grew up.
I'm a really thick athlete, athletic build. Everybody in my family thick. I'm pretty sure we were the ones that were breeding to go out there and pick cotton. And it's just something in me that looks at it and I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Just like trees.
See, I grew up where I grew up early in my life was basically cotton farms.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite for me is I moved to the city.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that when you talk Bible Belt, when you say Louisiana, you can say Louisiana and you can say New Orleans, and that's two different places. Things. That's two completely different things. Mm-hmm. You can say Arkansas and you can say Little Rock. Two completely different things.
Two completely different things.
Texas is probably more so than any. You can say Texas, you can say San Antonio. Austin is one of the most liberal places in America. Dallas and Houston, different than what
just
you'll
like
find
our political map. When you look at and it's strategic. Like I tell people, if you want to be president, you have to know how to win the presidency.
Yeah,
you don't need everybody to vote for you. You just need the right people to vote for you.
Right people in the right places.
You go to population centers, and that's like when you look at the map. All the last times, Republican destroys the middle of America in the South, but you see the blue areas on the outskirts. They're always destroyed by the Democrats, and that's why they consistently, or not consistently win because it goes back and forth. But typically, when they win, they have those dominated. But it's just all that's interesting, to say the least.
Okay, so let me ask you this: why do you think the NFL ratings are so far down? I mean, everybody's heard of this now, right?
Easy. Okay, so many things to explain about.
Well, hold on, real quick. Let me just if you haven't heard. Essentially, what it is the NFL ratings started this year down and have just progressively gotten worse. Mm-hmm. And for the first time in a long time, the World Series outperformed at the same time slot the NFL. Now, granted, it was the Cubs, and that was a big part of it.
Not just the Cubs. It was two of the most lovable losers that could possibly be there. I
don't say that about the Indians, dog. That was just because of a stinking movie.
But again, that was a very popular movie.
Yeah, and they thought of the Indians and said lovable.
And then, okay, forget the lovable part. There are two franchises that have not won in a long time that were competing. You had Cleveland, the story of the city of Cleveland in itself. One of the most watched 30 for 30s was the Believeland. And you saw it got even more push when LeBron when the LeBron
took his Yankee hat
off. when they won the NBA championship. No.
That's what I'm gonna start calling him.
Why you call him Drake?
Because homeboy was a Yankees fan. He was this fan. He was that fan. And then all of a sudden somebody pops up. And
everybody's a Yankees fan. But if he didn't go from a fiscal standpoint, if he did not have on the Cleveland Indians thing, he would make a little bit less money than he was going to already make.
Sure.
But anyways,
you can say
forget all that. Drake. So the thing is that's what was going on there. The NFL is more not polarizing. The NFL has never been talked about more, which lets me know that people are still interested, if not more interested. Think about the way millennials get all of their information.
Just like I'm getting it right now.
The same way you're getting it now. They have not figured out a way to track this as far as ratings. I can watch college football games and NFL games from my phone. I do not have to watch it from my TV.
I know you can, but do you?
Yes.
So if you're sitting at home, you're going to watch it on that instead of your TV?
I have a 3-year-old. You know what happens to my big TV?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
And then that's the other thing of it. Most, like when we go to like Wicked Barley, one of our sponsors here in Jacksonville, completely packed out. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are either watching, they're on the go, watching it, or in fantasy football lets you know there's more people playing fantasy football than gambling. So the ratings may be down, but most people are getting their information about NFL football games in a different way. And that's what that lets me know is that Roger Goodell, as great as he's been from the business side of it, has no idea what the millennials reaching out. And that's the scarier part. For them to actually listen to this and not understand what's going on means that they're going to be they could potentially be baseball in the next 15 to 20 years.
I don't think so. Here's why I don't think so is one, I think that when ratings became a big deal just in the last 10 years as far as NFL negotiating contracts, they're still winning all their time slots with the exception of that World Series.
Right.
Still by, wide margins.
The biggest game in baseball, went against week 7?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The fact they should win that every year. But so they're still winning that. But here's where I'm going with this is I don't think it's Colin Kaepernick. There's 25 guys who stuck to that probably. We're going to boycott the NFL, whatever. Yeah. Okay, if you have, then you're missing some good games.
But the fact that they keep talking about it is nothing more than promotion for the NFL.
Well, right, but all I'm saying is that I don't think that's it. I don't think it's the lack of celebration. I don't think that's it either. I think it's a little bit of your point. I think when the ratings, for the most part, when they've been touting these ratings, the economy has not been good. When the economy is not good, what do people do? They sit at home. They stay at home and they'll pop their own popcorn and watch the game.
And then what does the NFL go and do? They impose blackouts.
Yep.
Which in turn makes fans have to go watch the game, which drives more revenue there.
Yep. Yeah, and I think now the economy's better. And I look at
don't watch how you say that.
Well, it is better.
I mean,
in any measure, it's better. It's better than it was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm getting to with that is if I look at my viewing habits, now part of that is because of what we do. We actually go places because we're asked to. Mm-hmm. But even outside of that, my wife and I every now and then go, let's just go somewhere and watch the game. Mm-hmm. Let's get out of the house. We have 2 kids. Let's just get out of the house. Bro, 4 or 5 years ago, that wasn't happening. That wasn't happening on any level. So I think that's a big part of it. Where I think the NFL better really watch out is it's too confusing now. Yes. Is they've imposed so many rules and the games have gotten so long that the average person who doesn't live this, you or I see targeting, we can make an educated guess on what our thought is on targeting.
Right.
Your average person can't.
And the other problem is they say on one breath that they hate that they're trying to take targeting out, but they steady make viral and push the big hits.
Yep.
So it's confusing the hell out of people.
Yep. Well, like my wife.
And then also even with my bad to interrupt you, but even with the dancing, you say on one hand you don't want them celebrating and dancing, but then you have Pepsi should have a commercial with 2 of the guys who dance the most saying, "Oh, I wonder if this is how Sarah felt when she got her kiss," while they're dancing, doing end zone celebrations.
Right, the EA Sports commercials.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways, and I think that's the thing where where I go back to saying that Goodell is really missing what makes the millennial, who is the new crop of people who are going to push this further. The old guys are hooked. You got them on the crack.
You got to get these young guys. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I that's what I'm saying. We're hooked. Me and you are hooked. It's the next generation, the kids who don't necessarily play this. Actually, not even kids, because the NFL markets more to women. You get the women, the men will follow. It's the next generation of women who don't want to be there all day. And that's why the NFL Red Zone was so ingenious. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason that the ratings are down, because you can go to one place and watch every game.
So, my wife, she knows a lot about football. She lives football. I mean, it's our life. She can watch games and go, what are they talking about? She don't understand targeting. She don't understand this. She don't understand that. All she knows is we're sitting down for a 1:00 game and we're getting up at not 4 anymore, 4:30, 4:40 from that game. I mean, at every level is getting like that. Bro, right. I went to a high school game and I had 32 penalties. 2 good teams.
Right. The referees are. That's the thing, is that they've made it too difficult to officiate.
Yeah.
And the game is in their hands when it should not be in their hands.
It just makes it hard to watch.
Yeah.
And then you look at some of these games, and what I'm starting to get really pissed off about?
What?
Is every single game is called tight the whole game. Then it comes down to a 4th and 3 in the ball game, and they let anything go. Right. Make up your dang mind.
That's kind of what they're taught to do.
I know, but why is that any different?
I think you should just let them.
I think you should let it go the whole time. I honestly think that an officiating crew should dictate what they will tolerate and what they won't in the first quarter.
Very true.
If there are more than X amount of flags thrown after that, then they lost control of the game. They should be fined.
I do think that they should fine officials after so many mistakes.
Yeah. Human error is going to be human error.
But I think, like with going back to college game, when Jimbo raised some of those points, and other guys have raised, I think if a coach can be fined for calling out the officials should be fined if it turns out that they didn't really do a good job.
Yeah. Well, we got to end this thing because we've got a show to do. We get to talk about how bad the Jags suck for another 2 hours.
Awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic. Can we think of something else?
Let's do this. 88 Blessings is a foundation that we're sponsoring closely with Alan Hearns, who's a Jaguar wide receiver. He's bringing Christmas to kids who are from single-parent moms. It's not coming from you or me or Denny or Rogers Towers, who is one of the organizations that's helping back us. The single mothers actually have to go through classes to help prepare them to be the best possible person and mother that they can be for these young kids. And the mom earns the opportunity to be able to take the monies received, to be able to get the gift. All the kids get essentially the same gift, and the gift comes from the mom for Christmas. They take the moms out.
Mom bought it.
The mom bought it. Also, the mothers get a chance to go out, get dolled up, and do something that they normally don't have the time for. The kids get to go to a place here called Adventure Landing, where they get to go play. They get to play putt-putt golf, laser tag, and some other things.
Games, go-karts,
all kinds of stuff. Get fed.
Santa Claus comes.
We have 88 kids that we're trying to sponsor. We've done the breakdown. It's about $150 per kid. And that's what we're shooting for. That's the first thing we're shooting for, $150 per kid. If you sponsor one kid, we'll definitely tell you congratulations and thank you for it. You get over 3 to 4 kids, we'll probably try to make sure Alan does something a little more personalized for you. You get over 5 kids, dadgummit, you come here, we'll make sure we take care of you.
Absolutely.
Come on, we'll get you what you need. But bottom line is it's about the kids. And once we get to that, there are some other things that we probably would try to continue to push forward as we get to this. The event is December 16th. Make all checks payable to 88 Blessings. Go to sportsdenlive.com for more information. And like I said, it's a great event. Every quarter we're going to be doing an event with some charity. Now our podcast is meant to be national. You do not have to be in Jacksonville, Florida to be able to do this. I don't care if you're in Alaska. If you got $150 and you want to write a check to a kid to be able to not just necessarily change their life, but to make a stressful time.
Yeah.
Just think about how I'm stressed now. And I'm far from the inner city youth that I used to be. And I sometimes sit back and think about how stressful it must have been for my mom, who had rent, utilities, everything else due. And I also want to get the new Hot Wheels car that the kids across the street can come. And so, I mean, like I said, those are the different things that these kids are going through.
Don't wait. I mean, because I know emotionally, a lot of people will go, yeah, that sounds good. And before you know it, it'll be Christmas Eve and you'll go, man, dadgum, there's some kid not getting Christmas. I forgot about that. Just get it done. Just get it done. If you can't give $150, just give whatever you can.
Yeah.
You just give whatever you can. $150 gets a kid Christmas, though. And that, these days, hey, I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
Very, very fair. So if you can help out, definitely do that. We greatly appreciate it. If not, tell somebody who can.
Right.
As you're telling about our podcast, by the way.
Yes.
If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, by the way, get on your Apple phone.
Oh, yeah.
Your iPhone.
We're big time now.
Yep. Go to iTunes, type in Straight Talk No Chaser, scroll down a little bit. You'll see our podcast. And there you can subscribe so that it just goes straight to your phone right every time we upload it. So please tell your friends about that.
All the social media we have, you can go get it from sportsdenlive.com. Straight Talk No Chaser on SoundCloud. Sportsden _ live on
YouTube,
SoundCloud.
Right?
We're on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where the podcast and our live shows will be up. Guys, we're trying to do this thing big. You guys continue to listen to us. Appreciate the support.
Yep, there you go. We got to get out of here. We have a show to do, my man.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks for listening.